So, huge pop wrestling fans, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, huge pop wrestling fans. Tonight is as you can see, a crowded little bit of audience here. Our guest tonight, and we're going to focus solely on this man, is hailing from Chicago, Illinois. He is the man of the year, is currently wrestling for MCW. He is Monchos Mayhem. How you doing, my guy?
I'm feeling good. Excited to be here. A little nervous. First time on the podcast. So,
Well, normally I would say don't be nervous, but look around. You got several people that I know that you might be wanting to be nervous about. So, everybody feel free to chime in if you have questions for Mayhem. It's just going to be a round table. Want to focus on Mayhem's career, where he was, where he came from, what his future looks like. So I guess the first thing I can ask you, Mayhem, is what got you into this business of professional wrestling?
Just loving the sport in general. Like, I love wrestling. My family loved wrestling. Like, they was watching like the old matches and stuff like that. So I'm not exactly sure how I got into it. I just know it was at one point where I was just wrestling. And I just, like, when my friends would be outside, and we're playing hide and go seek or tag or whatever kids or teenagers were doing, I was in the house at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock on the dot to make sure I watch Raw or SmackDown. I got witnesses for that. So for one, just loving the sport in general, to the point where when I was wrestling on the wrestling team in grammar school and high school, I loved wrestling so much that I had my own finisher. in that type of wrestling, I had my own finishing move. That was how much I love wrestling. So, yeah.
Now, do you use that same finishing move at all in your professional wrestling career?
No, it changed. It was like I was kind of going through like a Shelton Benjamin thing at the time.
Okay.
So, and I wanted something that I could do that, because obviously that type of wrestling is much more rough and rigorous. So I needed something that I could just grab somebody and just get it over with really quickly. So it was the spinning T-bone suplex. Never got to use it, but that was my move.
Nice. Do you have a favorite promotion you like to watch and for the main stage? And do you have a favorite indie promotion that you follow or?
Well, first and foremost is WWE. I love WWE. Even if I'm not following the shows exactly, my YouTube algorithm knows what I want to see. So I keep up with what's going on with the top 10s and the highlights and stuff. So even if I'm not watching it, I know what's going on.
I'm putting up some.
Also AEW. I like AEW. I like their brand. I like what they're doing. I like how, they're coming out and, showing, WWE that, hey, we can be a successful company too, and a lot of times competition causes the other team to step their game up. Like AEW just dropped the video game. I feel like that's good because I played 2K wrestling. So now that they see what they got going on in that game, it's going to make them want to step their stuff up because they got some cool stuff in their game too. It's gonna make them step up.
Yeah. Do you play the AEW game? Have you had a chance to play it? Have you had a chance to play the AEW game?
No, I was going to buy it, and I was literally sitting there with the pay confirm button, and I was just looking at more videos, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to hold off on this. For the price, I'm going to hold off on it for right now until the price comes down, because 2K got a lot you can do with it right now, a whole lot. The only downfall with 2K right now is they got all this customization, but their service sucks, like totally sucks. So yeah, if they get the service fixed, untouchable game.
Gotcha. I mean, I want to focus on you, Mayhem, but you did bring up AEW. And what do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about the news that come across from AEW that their new channel they're signing with or whatever is going to make them cut back on what they can do with MJF, the crowds, the blood, and all that stuff? As a fan of AEW, I am a big fan of AEW for the reason of what they allow Moxley to do and MJF to do and all those guys. But it's gonna change. What do you think that's gonna do to the dynamics of AEW going forward?
I really don't understand the question.
AEW has to make changes. They've been told that they cannot have as much MJF in the ring cussing like he does and interaction in the crowds, and then they want to take away blood and stuff from Moxley and all that. So, what do you think that'll do to the company of AEW?
I feel like the brand has gotten to where it is because that it's separating itself from other companies, and I feel like dying down what they got going on could possibly hurt their core authentic fans that they got who come for what they come for. That's how I feel about it.
Right.
Because you already got WWE that's kind of like in a real PG. They've been trying to break out of it, but it's still like real PG right now. Yeah. So it'd be a breath of fresh air, to see something just a little different. You know what I mean?
Right. You guys feel free to jump in with questions. Now, next on my list was: do you feel communication with the referees and in the backstage and between you wrestlers doing the wrestling? You think that's important on how the match was going to play out?
Yes.
Okay. Of course.
I do.
Definitely, it's a big thing. If you got something that you got going on and the referee doesn't know about it, then he's out the loophole, and that could cause the match to go to crap. So I feel like especially important spots. The ref doesn't have to know everything, but important things he definitely has to be filled in on if you don't want everything to go to crap.
Have you ever had a ref that didn't know what he was doing and make you guys look stupid in the middle of the ring? Or
no, wrestlers, but nah, not a referee.
All right. So a couple of weeks ago, Sin said no to this, but I want to get your feeling on: do you feel fan interactions and with your merch table is valuable to your career? Sin said he didn't care too much about the fans. What's your take on that?
You say fans? Repeat that one more time.
Sin, what is your take on the importance of fans for you and your career and the merch table and your interactions with them?
I feel like the fans are very important. Like, I give a care whether I'm face of the hill, I what the fans got to say is very important. Like the TLC match, I missed the shooting star. I felt horrible. I missed the shooting star over I was supposed to land it on Sin and overshot over a table, and I just felt after.
Okay.
Breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Breaking up a little bit?
Yep.
He's gone.
Oh.
But hopefully we get him back.
Yeah, hopefully.
There he is.
So my next question is there a plan B just in case wrestling falls apart or you get injured?
Hear me?
Very, very sketchy.
Your connection's a little wonky, bro.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Now we're good.
Do you have a plan B just in case something happens? Yeah. Yep. Do you have a plan B just in case something happens in your wrestling career?
A phone call. Yes, I have a decent job right now, a career, whatever you want to call it. And I do music too. But yeah, I definitely, I got a lot of stuff that I like to do other than wrestling. But wrestling is something that I really love from my core and I always have. But before I got cut off, I missed that shooting star. And, afterwards, I'm backstage and I had fans still coming up to me wanting to take photos. I even had some that called me their best wrestler, and this was their first time seeing me wrestle. So that means a lot to me, even though they saw what I can do, even though I missed that move. You know what I mean? They saw my potential. So that, for me, that made me feel good. That makes me want to keep going,
Okay. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So where did you do your training at while I'm preparing to get into wrestling?
Well, I started, shout out to my man C Red. He pointed me out to some good promotions, and I started with BCW, setting up the ring and doing some training and stuff like that. So flash forward a couple months, BCW, Bourbon Championship Wrestling, they shuts down. They're no more. So I was looking for somewhere to get my foot wet in the ring, because I never wrestled BCW, and I was going to wrestle for one promotion. So they say everything happens for a reason. So I was going to wrestle for one promotion, and I was set up to get ready to wrestle, but he found out I had a match, so he swayed back on that guy, Jason Paul from CSW. And he knew that I didn't have any actual in-ring experience, but he gave me the opportunity, to come in and, like I was doing there, set up the ring and stuff like that. And he would let me participate in his battle royals. And that just got me comfortable, in the ring and just wrestling and being in there. And, so I did that for a while. Flash forward, I go over to a place called PPW. And there, he gave me an opportunity. He gave me the opportunity to show what I can do in single matches and tag matches like that. And I started doing a little training with them all. But before I go back there, so my first time wrestling at CSW, it was my first time actually participating in a match. So my first night there, they say everything happens for a reason. So the other show fell through. Jason gave me the book, come through to see you. First day I'm there, I didn't wrestle him, but I was sharing the same locker room with Carlito Caribbean Cool, Yeah. So
That's
for
cool.
me, I'm like, wow, I went from going to go to this other promotion, and right now CSW has big fun in them right now. They always got names and guys coming through each and every month. It's always a crazy show. So I'm thinking wow, I was supposed to wrestle here, but now I'm here in the same locker room with Carlito. So I don't know if all the other wrestlers were trying to act like he wasn't a big deal. So it got to a point where just me and him was in the locker room. And I asked him, I'm like, yo, Carlito, why you didn't come back to a Raw after your Royal Rumble? Was it? I don't remember. I think it was, when did he come back in 2021? Was it the Royal Rumble?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I asked him why he didn't come back after that. And he kind of seemed like he didn't want to talk about it. So that was the only question I asked him. He was like, yo, I wanted to come back, but they just didn't call me. But flash forward, to the end of the night, towards the end of the night, and I'm getting ready to go, and I'm talking with the promoter, Jason. He's just telling me how I did and stuff like that. And, when you're talking to someone and, you're trying to pay attention to them and you could kind of hear something in the back of you and someone else trying to talk to me. So it got to the point where Jason had to tap me like, yo, and it was Carlito, and he was just getting ready to leave, but he took the time to come and find me to be like, yo, I'm gonna get out of here. You know what I mean? So that made me feel good, because he could have just left, and I ignored him to the point where Jason had to tap me and was like, yo, someone's trying to talk to you. So I don't know, I felt like maybe we connected, or maybe he saw something in me, but that was pretty cool. So cool. So did some stuff of PP that started branching off and other promotions. I did All Star Lucha Libre. I did Tested. I guess all I can think about right now off the top of my head. But
Awesome.
those promotions been keeping me busy, and now here with Jimmy, you know what I mean, and MCW. Jimmy's a cool dude, you know, very genuine. Since the first day I met him, you know, I'm a water sign, so I'm busy. You know, I could just tell who's actually there for the people and stuff, and I feel like Jimmy is actually one of those dudes.
Well, thank you very much, Meyham.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Jimmy, Johnny, Sid, you have any questions for Mancho's Mayhem?
Yes, I do. So August 6th at MCW, are you ready?
Oh man, I've been ready, born ready, always ready. You know, anytime the man of the year comes around, it's gonna be a show. I try to bring one thing about me is I try to bring authentically who I am to the business, and when you see me out there, that's actually who I am. That's like no gimmick, no persona. My theme music is actually me on the music. So I just want to bring that urban feeling to wrestling that I feel like is missing. I feel like it's kind of missing that because I've been a couple places and I don't know. I just feel like I bring that urban feeling to what's going on. I feel like we need that in wrestling. I love to see. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have a favorite opponent that you faced so far?
Honestly, it's gonna have to be you, Sin. It's gonna have to be you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Next to Marche Rocket.
Marche's a heck of a talent. Yeah.
Yes,
we had a crazy fight. Honestly, we had like a roulette thing going on when I fought him, and they pulled his name out the hat. I guess it was kind of meant for me to wrestle him because it's like now I got Marche Rocket under my belt, you know, current NWA star, former Impact Wrestling star. So, you know, that's pretty cool for me. But when they pulled his name out of the hat, I'm like, okay, please don't call my name. Please don't put my name out the hat. And sure enough, Mancho's Mayhem. I got to go out here and fight Marche Rocket. I was a little terrified, but he's easy to work with. You know what I mean? Very helpful. Gave me some good tips after the fight and stuff like that. And that was my first time calling a match like on the fly, like from everything. Like we didn't know anything. Like it was really like a blind thing. We knew nothing at all. Yeah, so that was a pretty cool fight.
Well, this has never happened on it's never happened on a Huge Pop Wrestling podcast. I have somebody wanting to come into the show. I'm gonna ask you guys: is Joey Grunge okay to come in the show?
Yes.
Sure.
Here we go. All right, I just sent him a link. But all right, a question I ask everybody. I like to get. I'm gonna back up to your favorite opponent to face. I was gonna say this for last, but let's talk about this favorite opponent you like to face. You faced Sin a couple weeks ago for the Illinois Valley Championship, if I remember right. You had the match, man. I can tell you that. I watched the match from beginning to end. You tore it up. You did. I mean, Sin did his job too, but you tore it up. You high-flied. You were there. Everything was going great. But it had to suck to get hit by a plaque if that's the only way you could lose. Can you go back to that day and tell me and walk me through that? What was going through your head?
I broke up on the end.
Can you tell the fans?
Well, I was thinking.
Was like?
I was devastated. I'm not gonna lie. I can say that. Axel called it down the middle. He didn't know what foul play that he was. I respect the guy. You know what I mean? I get it. You know, but I was devastated because I whooped the socks off you that match, Sin, and you knew. That's why you had Viper come out there with you, because you knew that belt was going to change hands. You knew it was going to change hands. So that final rake to the eyes, I don't know, he raked my eye like 100 times that fight. That's the only thing that he should have got disqualified. That's the only thing I could say. Axel, he should have been disqualified. How many times he raked my eyes? But I'm getting ready to come back to him and coming back to my senses. And before you know it, I see a trophy coming at my head. And that was the last thing I remember.
So now you guys are both with MCW. Do I see a challenge coming up from Mayhem to Sin? Are you gonna go after him on Mayhem, or are you gonna leave him alone for a while?
You know, I always want the smoke, you know. So if Sin want the smoke still,
I have no problem with that. I could see us butting heads down the line.
All right.
You guys put on a hell of a match. I got to give you guys that. And also with Mayhem, I got to say, like, he's legit. When he says he is authentic, like, there's no lie about that. Backstage, out in the ring, at the meet and greet tables, everything, man. Like, I know we've only had a little bit of interactions with each other so far, me and you teaming up. But I'll tell you what, like, when me and him were in the corner as a tag team, we gave the fans what they wanted out of, like, comedic style tag team wrestling. Like, they had a blast with it.
I appreciate
That's awesome,
that,
man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
And I don't mean to diminish Mayhem at all. Even though I won that match, he did push me to the limits. I will not deny that. And it was a great match, and I would love to have another one.
That's awesome. It was, and it got guys. That was one of the best matches I've seen from an indie circuit team from you guys, and that was spot on. I'm giving you shit, Sin. I love your style. You know, that was a great match. You guys put on a good show. I can't wait to see it in MCW. So the question I have is
it's definitely gonna be a show.
How do you feel when the public don't really understand the risks and dangers of the job you guys do, and they use the word and they'll use the word fake? This is fake. How do you feel about that?
I hate it.
All right.
I just laugh at them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you can see this, but it's kind of going away a little bit. But I was pretty bruised up from that last fight that I had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people call it fake, but I can guarantee you, even with me loving the sport, you know, and me getting in there, it was a totally different from what I thought. Like, it takes a lot for you to get in there and do what we do, and people don't understand that you can still get hurt. People have lost their lives from wrestling. So you could call it fake all you want, but you could seriously get hurt in this business. Of course, we want to go home and, you know, safe and to our family. Of course, it's entertainment, but you can get hurt in this business. And if you want to find out, get in a ring.
Right.
I got a question for you. You mentioned you were an amateur wrestler. I was too. I found training amateur wrestlers and being one myself. For me, it really helped, you know, before going into pro wrestling. For you, did you find that helped you a lot being an amateur wrestler and then going to pro wrestling?
Yes, it did, because I felt like that already toughened me up. A coach told me that sport is the toughest sport ever. Like, the conditioning, the training is nothing like I've ever seen, and it's really tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I feel like that got me used to taking huge bumps and stuff like that, and just getting used to putting your hands on the next man and roughing them up. So yeah, that definitely taught me something. Some of the stuff I learned in that type of wrestling, I use in the ring. One of my favorites is the half pin. Yeah.
Shooting the half.
Yeah.
Here's a question from the fans. Sin, are you still doing the open challenge for Illinois Valley Championship?
It's to be seen.
There you go. Next, on to the next question. So, Mayhem, do you prefer doing it being a heel or a face?
You know, I love being a heel. You know, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, my move set. So I'm kind of like, one of my favorite wrestlers right now is Carmelo Hayes, you know, and he started off as a face, obviously, but I mean, I'm sorry, no, a heel, but now he's currently face right now, and I don't know if he eventually went there because of his move set or what he do, but he's a wrestler. So I'm just trying to show that you can be heel and still do some cool moves, because he did that for most of his career, and he was getting over. Even as a heel, he was getting over with that style, to the point where now he's face. So a lot of people see my move set and they assume that I'm face. I'm like, no, I'm heel. I just do what I want to do, you know.
Who's your favorite heel in WWE?
Whew, it would probably be Randy Orton. So at first, my favorite wrestler was John Cena for a long time, and then it became Randy after I saw that this guy just didn't give a crap. He didn't give a crap, and people hated to love him. Like, I don't know, like it was like Randy Orton, he can do no wrong at one point. I feel like still even now, if he's going out and attack your favorite legend, he's gonna still get cheers. It's just something that Randy Orton do. So I like that he can play, he can do whatever he wants. He kind of reminds me of LA Knight, even though LA is I don't know if he's kind of trying to morph into a face, but LA is, as far as I know right now, he's still a heel. So yeah.
Oh, with the crowd reaction, I think he's definitely face now, whether they want him to be or not.
Right.
Yeah.
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 What do you want? Let's talk about it. No.
They need to push that guy.
Do you acknowledge the tribal chief?
Do I acknowledge the tribal chief?
Yeah.
I won't say I acknowledge. I wouldn't say I acknowledge him, but you know, he's a cool wrestler. You know what I mean? Right. I would say the whole heel gimmick is working for him. Because at first they were trying to push him in everybody's face to be like the next John Cena or something like that. That's what I was getting, and the crowd just was not buying it. So I think the mastermind behind it to turn him heel was Paul Heyman, because now if Roman Reigns ever turns face, the crowd's gonna go crazy.
Right, yeah, I agree. So I have to ask this question. I'm a TikTok creator as well as a podcast person, and the TikTok question is, and it's crazy, it's off the wall, but I'm going to ask it. Who is the greatest WCW champion ever?
I might have to say Goldberg, maybe.
David Arquette.
Goldberg.
I still stick by Ric Flair.
Yeah, I had to ask that, you know.
Yeah.
I had to ask that. So you've been all over the country wrestling for different promotions, etc. Some probably big crowds, some small crowds. Is it easy to switch if you're in a big crowd area one week and then you go to a dead crowd the next? How hard is it to adjust to that, or you just go out there and put on the show like you always do?
I put on a show, you know, no matter what. You know, I don't care if it's 2 people, if it's 3 people. You know, I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but I wrestle for a promotion where, you know, you can go from one promotion for wrestling for 200 people, and you can go to another one for wrestling for 3 people. You know, I had one promotion, and like I said, I'm not going to put anyone on blast, but it was so dead to the point where after we would have a fight, after we would have a match, the promoter would tell us to get in our regular clothes and go in the audience and make some noise. That's how dead it was. Yeah. All right. We were like banging on the wall, like all types of stuff. So yeah.
Right. So you did mention. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off. Sorry. So you mentioned earlier that you used to put up rings and tear down rings, etc., and all that goes into the day of an event. I mean, all of you guys on even Jimmy is you guys belong to an indie wrestling promotion. you guys essentially put up the ring, take down the ring, put up the chairs, take down the chairs. I have guys from XIW that are going down to Orlando or Tampa to helping Impact that way, just to get their foot in the door, doing these things. How important is it for Jimmy? I guess you can answer this question, and Mayhem, you can answer the question. How important is it to you guys to be part of that specific ordeal? Putting up, taking down.
It's very important, especially when you're setting up for a show. Because you want to make sure everything's perfect for the workers, and make sure that the fans are ready for the boo their champions or the heels, or the cheer for their faces. The setup is the most important thing as to setting up a ring. And at any venue, you might just change it a little bit here and there, but the setup should be and is always very important.
As a wrestler, do you guys feel like that shouldn't be your job? Are you guys okay with doing that?
I help break down the ring, and I've been doing this 26 years myself.
It's called paying your dues.
Yeah,
you pay your dues. And it's just hard nowadays. These young people, Austin, for example, he's been on the road with me, and it's just him and I, and we set the whole ring for chairs for a show. When we're on the road. But that's very important.
Yeah, the one thing with me too is that every time I go to a new promotion, or even if I go back to the promotion that I've wrestled with before, I'll always ask if they need help, or I'll just go in there and start setting stuff up. And it's a benefit too, because if you see the other guys, helping to set up, that's a chance for me not only to show the promoter that I'm willing to work hard as well, besides wrestling. Also, it gives me a chance and opportunity to talk with the other performers or promoter or what have you, to try and pick their brains a little bit.
Yeah, agree with that. What's up, Shundell? Thank you for choosing in, my boy. Tuning in.
I'd like to take the time out to thank everybody that's in the chat, that's watching around, that gives the hearts and thumbs up. That means a lot to me as the podcaster. Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Follow this. Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast is doing great things. As you can see, MCW is down here. It's new. But just guys, just follow us and keep on getting content, guys. So
where's Joey Grunge? I'm still waiting for him to come on.
I don't know. He asked for a link, and now he's not coming on. So, anyways, what is the best advice, Mayhem, that you've gotten from a promoter or a wrestler?
Slow down. Slow down. Like towards the beginning, I was just I would go out there and do 5-minute matches, a 5-minute time limit, and I probably go 3, and I'm just like I'd wrestle for an hour afterwards. But slow down. That was one thing that Marche Rocket told me too. Just slow down. And now I feel like I can go a whole hour and not even really feel it, because it's more than just it's not only slow down your movement, it's slow down your mind, because sometimes your anxiety can take over, and that can cause you to fatigue as well. So I slow down not only my movement, but I slow down my mind as well, and kind of just take it all in. I can go for a long time.
Nice.
I'll remember that, Mayhem.
Who's the nicest guy? He said he'll
remember that next time.
Definitely.
Who's one of the nicest guys you've ever met backstage?
The nicest guys. It's too many people. It's too many people.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah. It's too many people to just say one, because I could say Sin, I could say Kaz, I could say Jimmy,
Was there one person that's had the most impact on your personal life and your wrestling life?
No one I could think of other than myself. Myself, like, yeah, I literally got everything out the mud. So, yeah.
Okay. You ever get tired of continuously working shows week after week after week?
No, no. I love working shows, and my thing is, just to find a consistent company that I could be with, because I'm simply my own agent, So when one show ends, I'm trying to get another show, and I do well, but a lot of people, they be booked up for months. You know what I mean? I got a lot of people telling me to come back at this time. Also just the Midwest is so crowded. You see a lot of the same guys getting booked at the same shows, and I'm not knocking their hustle, but it's just like, come on. But don't y'all want to see somebody new, like someone else? Like, so yeah, it's really crowded in the Midwest with wrestlers, and I feel like that's a lot of favoritism that goes on in this business, and yeah.
Okay. Who do you? Has there been one wrestler, one talent, one worker that you enjoyed the most working with in your career?
A wrestler that I enjoyed working with the most?
Yeah.
Just because it was recent, I'm gonna go with Sin.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Sin just because this was recent. Because
not just saying that because I'm here, right?
I have like a crazy style, so I might do some crazy stuff, and I run it by Sin, and Sin is, no disrespect, Sin is much older than me, but I run stuff by him and he be all for it. So you know what I mean? He can adapt with my style, and I can adapt with his. So easy to work with. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the titles you've held in your pro wrestling career?
Nothing.
Yeah.
No title. It's time to put a title. It's time to put a title around me. But
well, I thought
I feel like that's just stems for me not consistently being on one's show. Like, CSW is a big show, and the only thing I ever did for them was a dark match, which was big for me still, because with that big platform, they film on IWTV, big following, celebrity wrestlers each month, So, yeah.
So Raven says you're one of the nicest guys he's ever met. So there you go.
Tell him thank you. I appreciate that.
He says thank you.
That's how I try to be wherever I go. So it's like if somebody have a problem with Monchos, you got to be the problem, because I treat everybody with respect and how they should want to be treated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no titles, but MCW, that's about to change. That's about to change. Like I said, it just stems from me just wrestling from promotion to promotion. You know what I mean? I might wrestle at this promotion one month, then I might wrestle at this promotion. I'm like never constantly coming back. The only thing, well, PPW, I did some stuff there. I was consistently there, but never won a title. It's not only being there, it's being used the proper way, because I got so much to bring to the table. I just want to be used the proper way to show what I can do, to show that I can be champion. You know what I mean? And I am champion material. Not just, using me as a fill-in, because I'm definitely not a fill-in. I'm one of those guys that you meet once in a lifetime, like inside the ring and outside the ring. So
awesome, man. Awesome. Anybody have any questions for him?
I think we covered it all from me.
Okay. So he talked about titles. He said he's not held any titles. Jimmy Smooth. What titles are going to be available for the new people coming to MCW? Can we talk about the titles that you're going to have there?
Well, we're going to have pretty much, heavyweight title, tag belts, women's title, intercontinental, stuff like that. But we got a lot to bring to the table, with the talent that we have right now, and the fans will be blown away. And I hope they follow us. and come out to our shows. And we already got the heavyweight title starting this Thursday will be made. With my buddy makes belts for us, and he's out of Pakistan, but the belts are very, very good belts for the price I'm paying for these belts. And hope they the wrestlers, when they win the belts, whoever it may be, that they respect wherever they go. I put a lot of, I got 30 years in this business, and I've been there. I've been in the high roads and down low, and I got a big announcement to make pretty soon. I can't talk about right now. But I was at one time sanctioned with the AWA out of Minnesota. So there's some things about to happen that a lot of people don't know about yet. So, but we're just gonna put on the best show for the fans. My workers know if there's 10 people in the audience or 300 in the audience, to give the same energy out there. And
Give the
and a
best
lot of
performance that
guys,
we can give.
a lot of guys bring that energy, especially you, Sin, and John and Johnny Cass, So, Mayhem, you're gonna work pretty well into the MCW. We're looking forward to your first match. You will be tagging up with Reverend Mac.
Is there any other wrestlers that you want to mention that are going to be on the card?
Yeah, sure. Hang on a second here. We do have Nasty Nick Nolan, Amelia from Black and the Brave, Aaron Payne, Armando Alvarez, KOA, Koa. He's going to be a new addition to the MCW. Chris Mercer, Chris Mercer, he'll be making his debut with us again with MCW, and Rafael Quintero, Black and Brave, Casey Jacks, Tyler, Antoine. So it's a lot. A and B is going to be there too, and he's got a huge fan base for a little time he's been. Yes, A and B. I can't wait to hear that chant, A and B. So, but it's gonna be a great card, and we're looking forward to it. We got some great places that we're gonna be working at, and I want to thank the people that we're going to be going to. But it helps. We have sponsors, which helps out quite a bit. And for a while, we didn't have anything, but everything's working better now for us. There's a lot of potential for sponsors for us, and for us to travel out of state, actually do shows elsewhere. I am looking at going into Dubuque, Iowa, pretty soon. Looking to check out this one venue that everybody keeps telling me about. It's just the guys put on a great show, and entertain the fans, and go home safely.
So there you go, Mayhem. Sounds like there's several belts available for you, and the guy below you, I'm sure if he gets a belt, I'm sure you're gonna gun for him. And I couldn't help but notice that Johnny Cass, he brings his gamer belt over here. I don't know if that was I don't know if that's an open challenge or what he's trying to prove on this show.
Scotty, I'm gonna tell you, Sin beat him for that belt one night, and Singh actually gave me that belt for a little while.
Sure did.
I know Johnny must went home upset that night, not having his gamer's belt with him.
I was pretty upset.
It looked good around my waist, Johnny. So, anytime you want to put that title on line, or you want something else, let us know.
Definitely will. I will be more than happy and proud to defend this at MCW whenever you want.
All right.
But you got to show up first, though, Johnny. You got to show up.
Yes, that's right. You have to show up. Yes.
Well, trust me, I'm getting ready to.
Yeah. Okay. I got to go to the fans. I got to go to this fans here. Michael Rawdon. Anybody know Michael Rawdon?
Yes.
He is. I
know Christopher.
First of all, here's one for. Where is he at? PW. Okay, no. He says this, man. I don't know if he's joking around. Sin lives in a motel.
No, I don't. I'm actually in my house right now. I got one of my Les Pauls behind me. As you can see them in a room full of guitars.
But
he's getting that. No, wait. He's getting that confused. It's not him that lives in a motel. It's me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Really? Are you serious?
No, he's not. So Mayhem, back to you mentioned Mayhem that you do your own music. Can you tell the fans what your entrance song is? Did you create your own entrance music, or do you have something that is special to you that you use for that?
Yeah, I created my own entrance music because I do music. Like, there would be a slap in my face for me not to come out to my own song, right? You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But how that Man's of the Year song came about is because, I do a lot of smooth, soft, chill, mellow type music, and I was morphing into a heel or whatever. So I'm like, the song that I had at first, I think it didn't really fit me being heel, and I went down my catalog and I'm just like, what can I use? And I didn't really have nothing, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna make something from scratch. So that came up with Man's of the Year, and I probably wrote and recorded that song probably in an hour. That's between writing and recording. The whole song was done within an hour. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna do some it's called just gonna be quick questions, okay?
Okay.
And so favorite male wrestler?
Randy Orton.
Favorite female wrestler?
Ooh. Rhea Ripley.
Okay. Your Mount Rushmore of male wrestlers from old to new.
One more time.
Your Mount Rushmore of male wrestlers.
The Rock, Stone Cold, Randy Orton, John Cena, Undertaker.
Okay. Favorite faction?
It would probably be Evolution. Evolution is a mystery.
You do that pretty good.
I was obsessed with them back in the mid 2000s.
I was too.
Yeah.
That was a great faction.
That was a cool faction. That was one of those one and done things that won't be able to be topped again. Yeah.
Mine was the NWO, so I'm NWO boy all the way. So.
Okay. Some honorable mentions.
Yeah. What's your signature move?
I think it will probably be, I don't really know. It's like an arm drag.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen me do it before. Kind of like put my legs on the rope, do a backflip, and drag the opponent. Yeah. Yep. So that's probably one of my signature moves. But I'm always adding stuff to the arsenal. So when you see me, probably expect to see something new every time you see me wrestle, because I'm always adding moves to the arsenal.
What would you say your ultimate dream match is? Ultimate dream match.
Right now, as of now, in the present, Carmelo. I would love to fight Carmelo Hayes. I don't know if y'all ever see him wrestle. He'll be on Raw pretty soon. They had the Judgment Day go to NXT, and they beefed there. He fought Finn Balor on Raw, so I think they just gear him up to come to Raw.
Okay, so could you tell us a little bit about your wrestling character and persona, and where did you draw the inspiration from for your character?
My character is simply, it's just me, honestly. A young black male from the west side of Chicago who makes music, who's funny, who doesn't take no crap. And most of the time when you see me come out, I'm rapping my music. Man's of the Year. I'm the man's around here. You know what I mean? Like Carmelo, I am him. It's just really because it was hard for me trying to come up with a gimmick. I'm like, let me just go out and be myself, and it's been working for me. So
awesome.
I think some of the best gimmicks are just when somebody takes themselves and turns it up to 10.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you could turn back time, go back in time, and what retired wrestler or wrestlers would you love to have been in the ring with?
Retired. I mean, the obvious, The Rock, Stone Cold. His career was shortened because of his neck injury. And then that man's he had so much more to do.
Did you hang with him?
John Cena, those would be some good fights.
Did you hang with them?
Can I hang with them?
Yeah. Do you think so?
Most definitely. Right, most definitely. I can hang with anybody.
Well, I'll tell you what. I love your, the one thing I do love about the last 50 minutes that I've talked to you, you are what I call very confident, and you need to be in this business, I'm sure. I bet everybody in this circle would probably agree. But you do have a persona of confidence, and I like that. It's pretty cool. So I applaud you for that confidence, man.
Yeah, I feel like honestly I can hang with anybody in the game. I'm not gonna lie. I could work with almost anyone. I've worked with some of the biggest. I've worked with some of the smallest, and I've took some chops from some of the best. Like I've taken some chops. So I don't know. Like you're not gonna ever see me cover up with no shirt. I don't care about taking no chop. Come on, bring it. You know what I mean? Now I will say that TLC match, I was the only person out there with my shirt off. I should have started chopping people.
Well, I don't know if that was smart or what it was, but so we mentioned this guy. Jimmy Smooth mentioned this guy. You've mentioned this guy. He's now showed up in chat. AMB, right?
Yeah.
He says, can't wait to kick Chris Mercer in the face on August 6th, but this is what he says down here. I'd love to have a singles match with Mayhem.
I was just telling my girl that. I promise you, I was just telling my girl that probably like 3 days ago. I'm like, you know what? Someone who I haven't fought, and even when we've been in a rumble together, like, I kicked him. I gave him a little super kick in the rumble, but that was about it. But we never really wrestled. I feel like we could put on a good show. Me and AMB, no doubt.
Awesome. So there you go, AMB. There you go, Jimmy Smooth.
I can make that happen.
There you go. I like that. You can make it happen. So, what kind of fitness regimen do you partake in or on a regular basis? Are you always in the gym? Are you always in the ring practicing? What's your regimen?
Well, I've been trying to get in the gym more lately, but I got some dumbbells here that I work out with, and honestly, before I even started getting in the gym, I was just doing push-ups, like simply just push-ups, and that's what kept me in shape really my whole life, to the point where when I actually got in the gym, people thought I was already in the gym because I guess like my physique or whatever the case may be. I'm like, no, I haven't been, I just been doing push-ups, so I'm getting warmed up in here type thing. Push-ups, sit-ups, my girl, she cooks some healthy stuff, drink healthy juices, ginger and turmeric and all that stuff. So just being healthy. I skateboard, and I've been doing that for over 10 years. So I'm always staying busy,
Okay. I have about 4 more questions. I'm going to let you close it, okay? So if the opportunity arose for you to go over to New Japan or over to another country to wrestle, would you take that opportunity?
Of course. That'll probably have to be something I have to talk about, because I have a son. I have a 6-year-old son. So that'll be something that I'll have to work out, with his mother. But other than that, if I can get that under wraps, and definitely New Japan, that could be some life-changing things. So, of course, we're going to figure out how to make that work, because that could ultimately, set me and my child up, for the rest of our lives. So,
yes, absolutely. I got to pay homage to this man. He just popped in. This is the promoter of XIW, who is in the house, the gangster of destruction, and what's going down. This is Adrian Whisper. Everybody say hi to Adrian. Adrian, this is Mayhem, Sin, Johnny Cash, Jimmy Smooth.
Adrian.
Good evening.
MCW. So, what other career do you think you would have pursued if you hadn't became a wrestler and you currently have and if you didn't become a wrestler, what other ones? What would you be doing if you didn't become a wrestler, I guess?
Well, like, I'm still doing music right now. Like, I've actively make music, you know what I mean? But honestly, I won't say I slowed down on it because I've actually been, between how I've been wrestling, I've actually been dropping a lot of music. But for me, I feel like this wrestling journey of mine is going pretty quickly. It's moving pretty quickly. I'm going on like 2 years in the business, and it's already just been like this for me. Like from my first time meeting Carlito, I done already, I done met him. I done met Hornswoggle. I done met Damien Sandow, Jacob Fatu, just a couple people. So, and that's all in not even 2 years. So I'm just feeling like, God wants me to do this. If it makes sense, I always slap myself in the head like, man, I wish I would have done this, 8-10 years ago type stuff. So I'm 31 years old. So I'm giving myself a good 2 years of just grinding because the way I'm started wrestling is crazy. So I just feel like God, he wants me to do this. And I believe in myself. If nobody believes in me, I believe in myself. And I just keep saying God wants me to do this because how everything came into play of me wrestling in the first place. So
awesome. Yeah. We have Heel Kevin down here. He's a Twitch creator, content creator. He's a wrestler creator. So we got an interview with Mayhem from MCW over here with Sin and Johnny Cass and the promoter Jimmy Smooth. So
how's it going?
Yeah. So
how you doing?
All right. So the TLC match, the match against Sin, those are great matches that I've just recently seen of you wrestling. Those are in the past. MCW's in the future. Other promotions are in the future for you. Sounds like you travel all over the place. Anything that you need to say to your up-and-coming opponent? Anything you want to tell your fans where you're going to be, how they can get a hold of you, where they can get your music, where they can get your merch? Man, it's been a pleasure the last 57 minutes to talk with you. I really do see a victory coming over the guy below you, and maybe this guy beside that guy. I see that.
Maybe this guy on this side of me.
So I do see that. I think you got a great promoter in Jimmy Smooth. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with MCW. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Mayhem and your career. I follow you on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. You're not going to get. I'll be honest with you. You're not going to get rid of me. I'm going to haunt you all the time, but I don't mean to. I'm just a fan of wrestling, and I love making connections. So personally, I want to say, Mayhem, thank you for letting me have you on the show. Thank you for letting me be part of your life and your world of what it is. Because I tell you what, I only do this podcast for two reasons. I want to give you wrestlers and promoters the platform to get your stuff out there to whatever people I can get to. And as I said before in my introduction, I am a foster parent who runs an emergency shelter. So the hour I can take away from real reality and just talk wrestling calms me down, relaxes me, and I can go forward from there. If it wasn't for you guys and all the other stuff I do with wrestling, I might be a mess and my wife would probably hate me. But thankfully I got this. Thankfully I get this thing to step away from reality once an hour a day.
And we appreciate what you do for us.
I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys. Mayhem, the floor is yours. Why don't you close the show? Tell everybody where you can go, who you want to face, and tell that person, hey, look, you better watch out.
Well, MCW on August 6th, MCW Meyham will be debuting. And all I'm going to say is expect mayhem. Every time you see me, expect mayhem. If you're looking for my music, you can find my music on all streaming platforms at D-Money, the Pizza Boy. That's DEMONEYTHA, Pizza, BOI. yes, my music and my wrestling careers is two separate things. And you can find some of my matches on YouTube at MCW Meyham. You want to book me for some shows, you can hit up my Facebook, Demontri Robinson, DeMontriRobinson. Subscribe to Huge Pop. He's a cool dude. Follow MCW Wrestling, follow Sin, follow Kaz, follow me, and purchase your tickets for August 6th because Mayhem is going to be there. A lot of other exciting superstars going to be there. We got Jimmy Smooth doing his thing, and he's a real respectful dude. I can tell how the cards are already stacking up, and just when you're honest, everything is going to work its way out. So,
everybody, thank you for joining on the Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. It's a show with Mayhem. Thank you, Sin. Thank you, Cass. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm going to close out the show. Stay on board, guys. Stay on board in the waiting room. I'd like to talk to you guys. So, Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you all the people, 7 people, and the hearts and the thumbs up. Subscribe to the show. I seriously, guys, keep on subscribing, keep on following, push the show. I have lots of big things going forward, and it's going to be an exciting year. So, thank you guys again.
All my dogs, make some noise up in this house. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction. So